A pod of about 25 dolphins comes and surrounds me as I'm just sitting there. And it was one of the most crazy wildlife experiences I've ever had. What is up? I am Jake, and this is Totally Flow. Whether you're watching or listening, you are here with me now, in this space. We're floating in the current of life, and we're also in a field of yellow mustard flowers, if you are listening and can't see the image. I decided I wanted to go for another nature episode today, where I would just come outside and kind of share my inspirations of the week, my moments of flow, my moments of bliss with you. And yeah, today's just been really amazing. Today was the hottest day of the year so far in Southern California. It was like in the 90s, mid 90s, like 95, and it was just an amazing day. I really love heat waves like this because I was actually born during a heat wave. So whenever these random days of super hot weather come around, I kind of feel like my truest version of self comes out. I'm able to tap into a version of Jake that is only available when it's super hot, super sunny. And I also think maybe that has to do with the fact that all of my favorite activities are kind of surrounded by hot weather, like surfing, hanging out at the beach, going on hikes, being out in nature, all those good things. So today was one of those days. And this week, I wanted to break this video up into 4 chapters. Chapter 1 is going to be nature experiences / wildlife / the beginning of a new season. Chapter 2 is going to be moments of randomness or synchronicity, you choose. Chapter 3 is going to be things to watch this week. And lastly, Chapter 4 is going to be the moment I got pulled over for the first time in my life. So let's go to Chapter 1. So this week, after I uploaded my video, I decided that I wanted to go in the ocean to get a refresh, to kind of recenter myself, to find my bliss, and just to get a little ocean time. So I grab my board, I go out early morning, and usually I prefer to surf with a friend, but on this given day, I was just solo surfing. And as I'm in the water, I'm just embracing the moment. I'm sharing my gratitude with the ocean. I always sit there, I always hop off my board, hold my breath, go under, and just like try to float and just say thank you to the ocean. And as I came up, got back on my board, a pod of about 25 dolphins comes and surrounds me as I'm just sitting there. And it was one of the most crazy wildlife experiences I've ever had. I've seen dolphins before, maybe like on a boat or from afar when you're on the shore looking out. But never in my whole life have I ever been so close to so many dolphins. And the moment was just extra special because the dolphins weren't flipping and jumping. They were just being. They were so still and they were just kind of floating all around me. And it was a little scary, to be honest, because I thought, I don't know, just you never get that close to dolphins. But at the end of that experience, I was so grateful for that moment. It was honestly like magical, and it felt a little kismet. It felt perfect because as I was publishing this video of Totally Flow, these dolphins came to say hello. They came to kind of like bring in this new season because it was right before the beginning of spring. And in the beginning process of thinking about the imagery of Totally Flow, dolphins have been at the forefront of my mind this whole time. I even have a little illustration that I had done of me riding a dolphin in the beginning stages of Totally Flow, which I'll put on the screen. So that dolphin experience was just crazy. Just want to say shout out to all the dolphins out there. I love you. Thanks for coming to say hi. I hope you come by more often. And that kind of brings me to my next nature experience of the week. I was hiking later on, and I came across this mega rattlesnake, which was nuts because uh, during the winter and fall months, you never really see snakes. So it was the first snake I've seen in the whole year, and it was this mondo, super fat rattler. And I got close to it so I could take a picture, not too close, but it didn't even look like it was afraid of me whatsoever. It just was there, it was slithering, and it just was asserting its dominance as it was kind of like roaming the rocks. And I just love seeing that rattlesnake because, I don't know, two crazy wildlife nature experiences in 1 week. It doesn't happen that often to me. And my last moment of springtime, this new season, is all about this succulent that is outside of my bedroom door. I have like slider doors. And there's this succulent that's been there since day one I moved in. And over the last month, the succulent has bloomed this kind of like probe, this blossom out. And it looks like just a rod that comes straight out of the succulent. And over the course of the last, I want to call it month or 5 weeks, maybe a little less, honestly, this probe has grown to be 13 feet tall. It is absolutely insane. Every day I go outside and I measure it. And I Googled, what's this all about? Why is this one succulent doing this thing? Why are none of my other succulents doing that? And supposedly, this one plant does this at the end of its life. It uses all of its remaining energy to bloom into this super crazy high proboscis so that it can spread its seed. But I'm just kind of so grateful for this amazing succulent that's bloomed into my life. It's so representative of this new season. Shout out, succulent. I hope you keep growing to be like 30 feet tall so that I can call the local news and get featured. So that's the end of chapter 1. Chapter 2 is all about synchronicity or randomness, you choose. This week I was spending a lot of time at the public library because I like to go to the library and edit there because it kind of feels like an office space, a free office space, get free Wi-Fi. And after editing a video, I was just kind of roaming through the aisles of the library. I was searching for a book, but I didn't know what book. I was just letting the moment kind of take me. I was in the mystery section, and I grabbed this book, and it's called Monsieur Pamplemousse, and it's a mystery novel. And I grabbed it, checked it out, and was stoked on it. That night, I read like 30 pages, decided that it was a novel worth reading the rest of. And the next day, I decide, you know what, this is a brand new novel. I'm going to continue this randomness and go to a totally random Starbucks that I've never been to. I'm not somebody that usually goes to Starbucks. I usually go to another coffee shop. But on this day, I was like, I'm going to go to Starbucks, and I'm going to go to one that I have never been to before. So I take my book. I go to this random Starbucks, and as I'm sitting there, as I'm reading, this mom comes in, and she has 4 kids. And they were kind of loud children, so, in between the pages, something loud would happen, and I'd look up from the pages to make sure everything was all right. And this kept happening the whole time I was reading, and it was kind of funny, right? So I'm reading, I'm chilling, and all of a sudden, this kid goes, "Mamma mia!" And I go, "Whoa, what's going on?" Turns out, all was well. He just decided he wanted to yell "Mamma mia" in that given moment for some reason. So I go back to reading my book. And as I'm reading, I'm going through the dialogue, and the second sentence down from that moment said, "Mamma mia." And I was just flabbergasted in that moment. I was at a loss for words. I was like, oh my gosh, this kid said "Mamma mia." Then I read this word that said "Mamma mia." That's crazy. But just kept reading my book. And eventually, 5 o'clock came around. It was time to go. Starbucks was closing. So I get in my car, start driving home. And as I'm driving home, I'm listening to a podcast. And in the podcast host says, "Mamma mia." So that's 3 Mamma Mias in a row. What does that mean? I don't know. But what I do know is those little moments of synchronicity I like to think of those as signs, as omens, omens of flow, flowmans, if you will. And that kind of takes me to chapter 3, what to watch this week. So last week, as I was talking with Bray Hunziger, we talked a little bit about Anthony Bourdain, and that kind of sparked my memory of all of the episodes I've seen of Anthony. He has such a wide filmography, so many TV shows, so many videos, and I've watched a really solid chunk of his work. And one episode really stood out to me a year back when I was watching all of them, but I've had a really hard time remembering what the episode was, where it was located, who Anthony was with, all those details. And over the last year, I've tried a couple times to try to find this episode, try to scroll through the list of episodes on Wikipedia, and I couldn't find it. But a couple nights ago, at around midnight, I decided I am going to find this episode. I'm going to put in the work, the hours. And that's exactly what I did. I get on the internet, I search high and low for this episode of Bourdain. And after about an hour of searching, I find it. And the episode is called El Bulli. I believe it's set in Catalonia, Spain. And Anthony basically, it's like a two-part episode. One part, Bourdain is on the beach with one of his best chef friends, and they're making this seafood pasta on the shore of Spain. And that was the moment that I remembered so well. And I remember it being very inspiring. And upon rewatch, it was twice as inspiring. The chef that he was speaking with was so passionate. The way that he talks about ingredients and the value and nourishment of food was just, I don't know, it's a really special episode. And one of my favorite parts of the episode is near the end, Anthony goes to this restaurant called El Bulli, which at the time was known as one of the best restaurants in the whole world, like Michelin star level. And the creator of the restaurant decided that after many years of success, he was going to close doors just because he wanted to. He wanted to move on to the next step of his life, of his creation. And I kind of loved that because it's so rare that you hear somebody deciding to move on from a creation that is so successful, so lucrative, because their heart desires something else. And that's what the chef was doing. And this whole episode was full of heart as Bourdain was experiencing the last moments at El Bulli and the moments on the beach with his friend. So definitely check out that episode. But the second thing you should watch this week is a pilot from a show that was never picked up. And the show is called Heat Vision and Jack. And it was one of the most funny, random, weird internet finds I've ever discovered. And of course, I found it by way of Flow. I'm on YouTube. I am watching... Oh my gosh, there's a little ladybug on my knee. Can you see that? I'm watching a free YouTube movie called Harmontown. Harmontown is by the creator Dan Harmon, who created the show Community. I love the show. And as I'm watching Harmontown, Dan Harmon talks about his first pilot that he created. And it's called Heat Vision and Jack. So I immediately shut off Harmontown. I Google Heat Vision and Jack pilot. And it is a all-star cast of some of my favorite actors ever. Jack Black, Owen Wilson, Ben Stiller. And it was made in like the late 90s, so it was the very beginning of all of these actors' careers. So the pilot in and of itself is very funny, very quirky, very 90s-esque, which is why I liked it. But the thing I love most about it is that it really shows you the beginning of all of these amazing actors' careers before they were household names. And I just love seeing that because when you think of an actor, you think of their most recent film and not the very first film project that they worked on. And this pilot shows all of the best parts of Owen Wilson, of Jack Black, of Ben Stiller, but it does so in a way that, I don't know, you don't really see nowadays in their new movies. It's like their most young, outgoing versions of self. So highly recommend checking out that show. And lastly, chapter 4, the very first moment I ever got pulled over. My whole life, I've had a perfect driving record. No tickets, never been pulled over. Yesterday, I was coming home from surfing, and all of a sudden, I'm sipping my iced coffee, I'm loving life, and a police officer puts on his lights behind me. My heart starts pounding, and I'm like, oh my God, what did I do wrong? What did I do wrong? I did nothing wrong. So I pull over, and he comes to the window, and he says, hey, what's up with your license plate? And for a split second, I was like, what's up with my license plate? Nothing's up with my license plate. And then I remembered. On my back license plate, I do this special thing where every year when I get a new registration sticker that says the year, it's like a colorful sticker, and it changes with the given year. And it comes with a little sliver sticker tab of the same color. And I take that little sticker tab and I put it on my license plate, on the letter, on the number, so that eventually, in like 20 years, my license plate will be decked out in this kind of like decorative, colorful license plate sticker artwork. And basically, this police officer pulls me over and says, you can't do that. You got to take these stickers off. And I say, okay. So I just got out of my car. He said, just try to scrape it off. So I take my key, try to scrape it off, and it wasn't working. So I was like, hey, officer, it's not working. I live right down the street. Let me go home. Let me do it properly. He was like, okay, sounds good. No ticket, no nothing. Whew. Wipe the sweat off my face, chug the rest of my iced coffee, head home. But then I got home and I realized, instead of taking the stickers off, I'll just swap the back license plate from the front license plate. So that from the back, if I see this officer again, hey, no stickers, they're gone. But from the front, my art project can continue. Because it's honestly like a joy, a piece of joy that comes my way every year when I get to put another sliver on the plate. So that is the end of this episode. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for tapping in to the flow. The sun is going down. I literally have like 1 minute left of sunlight. I so appreciate every moment that you give me, whether you're watching or listening. Just like this flower right here, Totally Flow is slowly blooming. Spring is here. I'm feeling good. The vibes are high. I'll look out next week for another episode where I talk to a creator about life, about love, about inspiration, and all the above. Love you, bless you, thank you. See you soon.